Look at this country on the map. It looks less like a nation and more like a mistake. Over 4,200 kilometers long. Yet in some places, only 100 kilometers wide. Trapped between the Pacific Ocean on one side and the towering Andes Mountains on the other. This shape is not just unusual. It is a geographic nightmare. Roads don't connect. Cities are isolated. Entire regions are cut off from their own country. So how does a nation like this even function? Why did it become so long and narrow in the first place? And how did Chile turn one of the world's worst geographic disadvantages into a survival strategy? This is the story of Chile. You are now looking at the strangest shaped country in the world. It is not wide. It is neither square nor symmetrical. Instead, it is long and extremely narrow. This country is Chile. Why does Chile have such a long and narrow shape? What challenges has this shape created for the country? And how has Chile survived under such harsh geographic conditions? Chile's unusual shape did not appear overnight. It was formed through the combined forces of geography and history. Hundreds of years ago, this country did not yet exist. This long strip of land was inhabited by multiple tribes. In the north lived the Atacameno and Aymara peoples. In the south lived the fierce and resilient Mapuche warriors. In the 15th century, the Spanish Empire arrived here in search of gold. But unlike Mexico and Peru, there was no advanced civilization here. Only rugged mountains, endless dry deserts, and a Mapuche people who refused to submit easily. As a result, conquering this land was extremely difficult for Spain. It was not until 1818 that Chile gained independence from the Spanish Empire. At that time, Chile was still a small country. Its territory only covered the area from present-day Santiago to Valparaiso. Real expansion began in the 19th century, when Chile attempted to expand northward. It encountered joint resistance from Peru and Bolivia during the War of the Pacific. After the war ended, Chile occupied vast territories. Bolivia completely lost its coastline and became a landlocked country. This victory was crucial for Chile. It not only gained enormous natural resources, but also pushed its northern border 500 kilometers further, making Chile even longer and narrower. To the south, Chile set its sights on Patagonia. Argentina also had ambitions for this region. The two countries nearly went to war multiple times. Eventually, they signed a border treaty in 1881. Chile gained control over southern Patagonia and the Magallanes region. By the early 20th century, Chile had fully become a long country stretching from north to south. Its total length reached 4.200 kilometers, equivalent to the distance from the US East Coast to the West Coast, making it the longest and narrowest country on Earth. Being long has its advantages. But Chile's problems also come from this shape. The real issue is not just its length, but the fact that it is trapped between two massive geographic barriers. To the west lies the Pacific Ocean. To the east rise the Andes Mountains. The Pacific Ocean gives Chile a long coastline, but it also blocks any possibility of westward expansion. The Andes Mountains stand like a massive wall to the east. Many peaks exceed 6,000 meters in height, making them nearly impossible to cross. This turns Chile into a narrow geographic corridor. At its narrowest point, it is only 100 kilometers wide. These conditions create immense survival challenges for Chile. Transportation becomes a matter of life and death. Highways must be carved through mountain gaps. Railway construction is even more difficult. Cities can only expand north to south. Horizontal development is almost impossible. For example, regions like Aysén and Magallanes in southern Chile cannot be reached directly by car. The only options are boats, airplanes, or detouring through Argentina before re-entering Chile. Even today, many Chileans must pass through Argentina to reach their own southern regions. When disasters such as earthquakes or floods occur, rescue forces struggle to arrive quickly. Even ordinary fires often face delays in emergency supplies and personnel due to blocked transport routes. In addition, northern Chile is home to the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth. Some areas have not seen a single drop of rain for decades. Only people involved in copper mining live there. In contrast, the south is cold and rainy, filled with glaciers and permafrost. Building roads there is nearly impossible. When talking about Chile, earthquakes cannot be avoided. Chile lies within the Pacific Ring of Fire, one of the most geologically active regions on Earth. Thousands of earthquakes occur here every year. In 2010, an 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck the Concepcion region of Chile. It killed hundreds of people and nearly destroyed the city's entire infrastructure. But what was more terrifying than the earthquake itself was the difficulty of rescue. Ambulances sent from Santiago had to cross multiple mountain ranges. Supply transport was also halted due to damaged roads. Even without disasters, connecting north and south remains a daily challenge for Chile. Flying from northern Chile to the south takes 5 hours. If driving, many people simply choose to detour through Argentina, because highways within Chile are either incomplete or in extremely poor condition. Chile's narrow shape also deeply affects its economy. Most of Chile's population lives in the central region. Around 40% of the population is concentrated near Santiago alone. This concentration leads to severe resource imbalance. The best hospitals, universities, highways, airports, and job opportunities are all centered around Santiago. Meanwhile, northern Arica and southern Patagonia suffer from a lack of jobs and investment. Infrastructure there is severely underdeveloped. Chile's economy heavily depends on exports. About 30% of its GDP comes from exports. It is one of the world's largest producers of copper. It also ranks among the top exporters of salmon and fruit. However, these goods must travel long distances to reach ports. Copper from the north must be shipped south. Fruits from the south must be transported north. Transportation alone can take several days. Even though Chile has some of Latin America's most advanced ports, getting goods to the port significantly increases costs and time. Despite harsh geographic conditions, Chile did not give up. It cannot change mountains or oceans. So it chose to adapt and use intelligence to overcome its challenges. The government has continuously invested in highways, expressways, and airports. One of the most iconic projects is Route 7 in the south. This highway was initiated in 1970 by military leader Augusto Pinochet. Its purpose was not only to connect north and south, but also to prevent instability caused by regional isolation. During construction, workers had to cross dense forests, steep mountains and raging rivers. Even today, more than 40 years later, some sections are still unfinished, and completed sections constantly face damage from floods and earthquakes. At the same time, Chile invested heavily in high-speed internet and satellite communication. Today, over 90% of the population has internet access. In remote regions, drones deliver supplies. Solar power systems, microgrids, and small airports help keep these areas connected to the outside world. Chile understands that it cannot solve all problems alone. So it actively cooperates with neighboring countries, especially Argentina. If traveling within Chile is too difficult, it simply uses Argentine routes. In southern regions like Tierra del Fuego and Magallanes, the two countries jointly build bridges, tunnels, and shipping routes, making cross-regional travel much smoother. Chile has also focused on high-tech industries. It is now one of the most tech-savvy countries in Latin America. In 2023, Santiago was named a top startup hub in the region. At the same time, Chile has heavily invested in renewable energy, using solar power from the northern deserts and wind energy from the southern coasts, turning geographic disadvantages into energy advantages. Chile's story reveals a simple yet profound truth. No matter how difficult the situation, instead of complaining about what cannot be changed, it is better to find solutions within existing conditions. No country's destiny is perfect. Every place has its strengths and weaknesses. What matters is not dwelling on what you lack, but working to make what you have even better. Take good care of yourself. See you in the next episode.